Everyone, it's Kenji. I'm making Arroz con Pollo in the rice cooker. This recipe doesn't have to be made in the rice cooker, but I'm making it in the rice cooker today. You could do this in a pot on the stove if you want. It's chicken and rice, obviously very popular in many parts of South America, and there are various recipes for it. This is the version that I like to make, although honestly, I change up the vegetables and the stuff that goes into it all the time. But we're going to start by getting a little olive oil in the rice cooker. About a tablespoon or so. And I have this set on the quick cook setting, so it is heating up on the bottom. If you happen to have a style of rice cooker that doesn't heat when the lid is open, then you can do all of these sort of early steps in a skillet and then just transfer it to the rice cooker when you actually have to start cooking the rice bits. All right, so I'm going to start with half an onion here. I'm not going to say the thing I say every time about slicing onions, although I will say that the horizontal cut does make a difference, and it's because when you slice down the size of an onion, whether you're kind of angling in or not, these outer layers end up as these sort of long things if you slice across them, and so doing that horizontal cut makes it a lot more even. So people who say, oh, why are you doing that horizontal cut? It's totally useless. No, it's not. It makes the cut more even. Of course, you can argue that it doesn't matter how even your onion cuts are. And that's fair. For home cooking, a lot of it doesn't really matter that much. It's all gonna taste fine no matter what. But if you want your onions to cook evenly, you want them to start out as relatively even pieces. So doing that horizontal cut does make a difference, however small. All right. So we're going to get those onions into that olive oil. All right. Bench scraper, one of my favorite tools of all time. And then I'm also going to get a couple garlic cloves in there. So garlic cloves, let's get some onion off. Garlic cloves, I'll slice off the bottoms, give them a smash, and then the skins come right off. All that stuff I'm putting in the sink, by the way, will be transferred to the compost in due time. And give it a good whack. And a few chops in both directions. Okay. Doesn't have to be crazy even, or crazy minced, that is. Although you could use a garlic press if you wanted to. I don't mind having slightly larger pieces of garlic in there. So with those onions going, I'm going to start prepping the rest of my ingredients. So I've got a carrot. I'll probably only use half of this, and you know what? I might save the other half for the Japanese potato salad I'm going to make in a moment. Although that won't be part of this video. It'll be a separate video and recipe. But let's start by peeling and trimming. I will quarter this guy. Let's give that onion and garlic a little stir here. Okay, we're looking to kind of soften it, but not brown it, really. Okay. Closing will also kind of help it cook a little faster just because it traps in the heat. Okay, we got our carrots. Got some green beans here. I'm going to cut them into little chunks. And honestly, you know, this is one of those dishes where if you went and bought a bag of frozen carrots and beans, you know, they come kind of pre-diced and pre-cut, and you use it in this recipe, nobody, probably including myself, would be able to really tell the difference. So if you want to use pre-diced frozen carrots and green beans, you can absolutely go right ahead. I do that myself frequently. You know, I got kids, I cook for them. I get frozen foods and the convenience of it. And so the only other ingredient, vegetable-wise, is some frozen peas. Of course, you know, this is a recipe or a technique that you can use a wide variety of ingredients for. You know, it doesn't have to be carrots and peas. Whatever you have on hand, you really could use if you wanted to. I happen to like this particular combination, and I have them around a lot, so this is what I'm going with. Put some peas in there. All right, and then to finish it off, I've got some olives. Inexpensive jarred olives are totally fine for this. You don't have to get the fancy ones. And these are actually pimento stuffed olives, although I think I've mentioned this in another video before, but what they call pimentos and pimento stuffed olives are not actually really peppers. They are, in fact, like pepper juice that's been gelled, you know, jellied. Well, let me cut one in half and then show you. these pimentos are not really peppers. They are like pepper juice that's been gelled and then stuck inside the olive, which is why they have such a uniform shape and texture. But some brands of fancy pimento stuffed olives might actually use real pimentos, but the vast majority of what you're going to see in the supermarket uses jellied pimento juice, which is not to say that it's bad, but that is what it is. All right, we'll just slice these up. These are going to go in at the very end, along with some cilantro. Okay, and then we're going to do a couple spices in here. So I'm going to put maybe like that amount of cumin and this amount of paprika. So this is my rice cooker from our place. We collaborated on designing it and testing it. If you want the recipe, you can find it on a recipe card when you get this rice cooker. I'll probably also publish it on my Patreon, where you can get it probably for free, to be honest. But we're just going to grind up this cumin here. Okay, so I'm just going to let this onion and garlic continue to soften. It'll probably take about 5 more minutes or so, and then we will start layering in our other ingredients, and then it's just a button push away to dinner. All right, so I will see you in a few minutes. All right, so our onions and garlic are sweated but not browned, which is what we're looking for. I'm also going to season them with a bit of kosher salt and MSG, and then I'm going to take this spice blend and get it in there as well. Okay. You know, I used whole cumin here. You can feel free to use pre-ground cumin. You know, generally with spices, the things that you're smelling are sort of the volatile organic compounds that are coming out of it. So if you open a jar of spices and you smell it, that means that those little bits of smelly stuff are getting into the air and into your nose. And if they are in your nose, then they are no longer in the spices. So, you know, generally I tend to try and use whole spices because they retain their flavor a lot longer and a lot better. So, you know, like I had a mom, well, I still have a mom, you know, would keep jars of old spices on a spice rack in her kitchen. And, you know, so it's like she has like a jar of like McCormick ground cloves from 1976 or whenever. And when they're ground up like that, you really increase their surface area. And so the volatiles tend to fly off much more easily. And so the spices lose their aroma much faster, which is why, you know, those ground cloves kind of taste like dust now. But whole spices retain their flavor a lot longer. So when possible, you know, not always. And especially if you go through a spice really frequently, you know, like cinnamon, you might go through a lot of cinnamon. In those cases, it's okay to buy the ground stuff. I mean, it's always okay. But if you tend to have a spice that you're not going to use that frequently, or you really want to maximize the flavor of it, buy the whole spice instead of the pre-ground stuff. All right, so here I'm adding a cup of long grain rice. You could also use, you know, jasmine, basmati, whatever rice you want. But I'm using regular old American grown long grain rice, probably from, I don't know, Louisiana, I would guess. And we're just going to get it coated in those aromatics, that spice mixture, the onions and garlic. We want to make sure that everything is nice and evenly coated, and that the oil is coating sort of each grain of rice, and that's going to help the rice stay sort of nice and fluffy and separated. And so at this point, I'm going to add about 1 1/3 cups. This rice, you know, cooks at like 1 to 1.3. So about 1 1/3 cups of chicken broth. You could use water, you could use homemade chicken broth. I'm using store-bought, which is just fine. We're gonna mix that up. Okay, and then we're gonna add in our vegetables. They can just kind of sit on the top for now. And finally, we've got some boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And I'm gonna add those on top as well. Okay. Oh boy, I forgot the most important ingredient. Hold on, let me wash my hands and we'll get to it. Not the most important ingredient, but one important ingredient. Let me activate my tongs. All right, let's take these out for a second because I forgot to add the saffron. Okay, let me get my hands nice and dry. So saffron is hand harvested. So each one of these little threads is a hand harvested pistil from the saffron flour, which makes it worth more than its weight in gold per ounce, you know. It's one of the most expensive spices in the world. I think it's the most expensive spice in the world. But the good thing about it is that you don't need a ton of it to get that flavor. So I'm just going to take some, pinch it in my fingers, grind it up a little bit, and then let me give that a stir. Saffron has an amazing aroma, but also gives a really gorgeous color to things. So if you don't have saffron, no big deal. It's still going to taste good. And we will get our chicken right back in there. Okay, let me deactivate my tongs. All right, we'll close the lid. I'm gonna restart this whole thing and set it on white rice mode and start. Okay, all right, so this is gonna take 35 minutes to cook, and when that is done, I will be back. So I'll see you in 35 minutes. All right, I'm gonna open this up. I'm warning you, it's not gonna be the most appetizing looking thing right now, but it will taste great when we're done. All right, ready? All right, activate tongs. In we go. All right, so that chicken thigh has been cooked through. Our vegetables are cooked. And now you can see why it doesn't really matter whether you use frozen green beans or fresh green beans. They end up this really soft cook texture no matter what, which I love. All right, we're gonna shred up this chicken using a couple forks. You can use whatever method you want to shred your chicken, but I quite enjoy the 2-fork method. But you know, if you don't fork around, you can get in there with your hands, I guess. You can use the finger method. All right, I'm gonna leave it in kind of biggish chunks like that. Okay. All right, now let's get that rice out of there. Woo! Gorge. She gorge. Get it all out of there. Rice is nice and tender. Grains are separate. Okay, we're gonna finish this off with some of those olives. I'm gonna pop the lid off so that I don't forget to clean it later. And then some cilantro, which I'm gonna finely chop. So Arroz con Pollo, it's a dish you can put all kinds of things in. So if you wanted to put like frozen corn in here or fresh corn in here, you could. If you wanted to put other vegetables, broccoli in here, you could. If you wanted to put capers or raisins in here, you could. The really only important parts are that you make sure that the ratio of rice to liquid is correct. And also make sure that you kind of coat that rice in oil before you start to steam it. All right. Cilantro going in. I'm just gonna fold this all together. We do really want to kind of like use a folding motion here as opposed to a mixing or stirring motion so that everything incorporates evenly, but we don't turn it into like one solid blob of rice. Let's taste it for seasoning now. That saffron really coming through. Needs a little more salt in MSG. I'm gonna drizzle in just a little bit more olive oil. We'll give it one more fold and I think we're good to go. With the taste. All right, Arroz con Pollo, very, very simple in the rice cooker. You can also do this on the stovetop if you want. You could do it in your multi-cooker, like, you know, your Instant Pot style thing. But I find it comes out really great in the rice cooker and it's super easy. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, I'm gonna eat my dinner and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Head over to KenjiLopez-alt.com. There you can find links to join my Patreon. There's various tiers with different perks, but that's where you're gonna find all of my printed recipes. Most of them are for free. You'll also get access to special perks like new product releases, early access to things, live streams, AMAs. At KenjiLopez-alt.com, you'll also find my shop where you'll find all of my books. You can get them signed and personalized, shipped anywhere in the world, as well as my products and product collaborations. You'll also find live event listings there. I do live events sometimes. And I'd love to see you come by. All right, see you later.